Welcome back to Catch It, a new perception. My name is Ketup. In this season, thinking about different things. If it is who you are, accept it. If you can change it, do everything in your power to do so. If it's not who you are. So sometimes I will hear people say things like, well, it's just who I am. Use their language, for example, the terminology they use. Say they're cursing. I can't help it, it's just what I do. And then they go to work. They're in a professional position. They're in a management position possibly. And they don't use that terminology when speaking to their boss. If they have a tendency maybe to walk into a church or some type of sacred circle and they're at a ceremony, they're not going to walk up to the person running the ceremony and drop an F-bomb and say, "How the F are you?" Or to the pastor leaving church. I think that people will tell me it's just who I am. I can't help it. When they choose to not do anything. I use that as an example. There's millions of different examples like this, literally. Every one of us have probably done it at some point in our life, chances are. There may be the fraction of a 1% of people who have never done that. And what are some other ways that we do it? When it comes to what we say, it's just the way I am. Well, this is just what I do. Rather than, I'm used to it, I don't know how to change it. We have the ability to co-create everything in our lives. Now, if it's truly who you are, your ethnicity, there are certain things about us biologically we don't have the capabilities of changing. Not that obviously most of us would want to, and accept. We need to learn to accept that just as it is. Accept ourselves just as we are. The same way that we accept someone that is totally different than we are. Because of who they are, their ethnicity, their sexuality, whatever that might be. We learn to accept them. Have we accepted ourselves? And do we accept ourselves for who we are, or do we limit ourselves and say, oh, well, that's just who I am, and ultimately we are choosing to not change when it's not really who we are, it's just what we've done the majority of our lives. It's the way we've reacted, it's the way we've spoke, it's the way we've made an approach. It's just the way I am. I'm just an angry person. Well, if you're angry, chances are you've co-created some of that. Chances are there was some things that happened that helped create that in your life. Maybe it wasn't all co-created. How it's been co-created is that you've kept it going. It's kind of like a resentment. To refeel. I believe you break that word down in its origin. So you have a resentment and you think that it's what somebody else did to you. And the reality is you've chosen to carry that resentment the entire time. You chose to not let go, and you have co-created the resentment ever since. You could have chose to let go and say, you know what, I just don't want anything to do with this person. I don't trust him. I don't like him. That behavior is unacceptable. Whatever. Or it might be someone that you still deal with in your daily life and you resent them. Continue to refeel every time you see them. Feelings that are uncomfortable, whatever they may be. You can co-create something different. That's not just the way you are. I don't believe it. I don't believe you're a resentful person. I believe that you carry a resentment. I don't believe that you're an angry person. I believe that you carry anger. And you do things and make decisions based off of that to continue to hold on to it. So you are co-creating it today. It could be with fear, all kinds of different feelings that we hold on to. We're co-creating. We are not allowing ourselves to get to know our higher selves. We do certain things to either hold on or let go. Either way, we are going to co-create within that moment. Now, this goes back to when we were an infant. In co-creating something, we had a chance to be able to see it different. We had the ability to be able to do it different. And we just did it the way we did it, so we co-created something. When you were but an infant, newborn, a couple weeks out of the hospital, you're laying on your back on the floor, and you took your right hand to your left foot and put your big toe in your mouth. You began to co-create something at that moment. I don't believe that we co-created our existence. I believe it was a gift from our parents and from the Creator. And we were created as a gift. And since then, I think that we have co-created almost everything. I don't know if any of you people were so selfish when you were young and you got upset and you maybe sometimes would cry to get your way. You were co-creating something within that relationship with your parents or one of your parents possibly at that time. Or did your parent decide, I can't put up with this anyway. I no longer put up with this. I'm not going to allow this behavior, and just allowed you to cry so that they weren't reacting to you. And then you cried yourself into a headache. And then you had to stop crying because you were in physical pain. You had co-created something that day. What about the time when you were at school and you were always taught to be honest? And you were talking to a friend of yours and the teacher has their back to you, drawing on the chalkboard or the whiteboard or whatever it is. And they said, who's talking? And they turn around and you don't admit it because you don't want to get in trouble. You begin to co-create something at that age. I'm not saying that I should have admitted it. I'm not saying that you should have admitted it. I'm not saying anything should be one way or another. What I'm saying is that we co-created something at that moment. We began to lie through omission. So, even though we didn't lie to the letter of the law, because she didn't say, were you speaking? I asked you not to talk. She didn't look directly at you and ask you, and you didn't lie to her. So therefore you were dishonest by not speaking up, and you didn't lie to her. What is it you're going to co-create in the future is by far more important than what you've co-created up to this point. Now, you may have to make some major changes to be able to continue to co-create what it is that you want to see in the world, how you want to see it. How do you want other people to react to you? How do you want to be able to react to other people? And what is it you're willing to do to make those things happen? What lengths are you willing to go to co-create an entirely different future than your past? How honest do you want to be? How much do you have the ability to leave something where it was? To get to know your higher self? Do you even have a desire more than just a thought? Do you have a desire to get to know yourself spiritually different? Therefore, you would know everything around you spiritually different. Chances are, when you co-create something to get to know your higher self, so you're changing spiritually, something inside of you is changing, you will change your relationship with everyone around you. So the greatest ways to be able to co-create something is to be able to change everything at that moment. What if you had not walked by that door? What if you would have taken a left instead of gone forward? Taken a right when you always went left? What if you woke up each morning, said thank you to the universe, to the Creator, to God, to Allah, Confucius, Prime Cause, Divine Mind, or whatever that power may be, that mystery? Are you able to say thank you? Are you able to make an offering before you ask for something? Can you give something before you receive something? When you make an approach to someone, whether it's at work and you're a supervisor, a manager of some sort, and you need to make an approach to someone, are you used to telling them how good they are? How thankful you are for what they do? Or do you take for granted what they do, and then you're just going to discipline them or reprimand them or say something where they feel like you're talking down to them? What are you co-creating? What are you co-creating at your workplace when you don't compliment people, and then when it's time to discipline them, you talk down to them? And you try to act like you're not talking down to them, and they feel like you are. Because you don't talk about when they do anything good. You don't talk about how maybe they're above average with most things they do, because you've learned to expect that because they've always been above average. What if you walk into a situation? I was speaking with a friend of mine who has struggled a little bit with a 12-step program for a number of years. And I said, the reality of it is the most people that walk into, I believe he's a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. Most people that walk into Alcoholics Anonymous the first time do not stay sober from that day forward. Or if someone happens to attend some type of inpatient or outpatient treatment, prior to walking into that meeting, most people that do that don't stay sober after attending that first treatment. So what if you do more than most people? Do you think you have a better chance than just doing what most people do? I think that he will, because he will co-create something for himself he's never seen before. You can do the same thing at work. What if you walk into your place of employment where most people think they're a good employee, and you do more than most people? You don't have to tell people about it. You just take the action to show up differently, to show up with a smile, to shake hands when necessary, to greet people in a different way with a good heart. What if it's different today? When you take different steps to do things for other people, you are co-creating something in your life that will be different forever. When we no longer talk down to people, when we inspire people, when we inspire other people, we may be inspired by it. Therefore, we are co-creating something by inspiring other people. Each and every day, we have the opportunity to do this. Co-create something good for yourself. Stop co-creating something that spirals your life in a downward trajectory. There is no longer time for that. No longer space for that in our lives. Our trajectory will go up. We will co-create something healthy and good from this day forward. We need to be conscious of that, and we need to do for other people. The more we do for other people, the more we're co-creating a world that we can live in harmony, in peace, in love, in dignity, and in consciousness. Become conscious of how you will co-create from this day forward. Looking forward to next time. Live in harmony with and use the bounty of the land to bring kindness to the world.